It's 7 a.m. and you're standing in your kitchen, the same kitchen where you've made thousands of meals over the decades. You're pouring that bowl of heart-healthy granola. The same brand your doctor mentioned might be good for you. You're doing everything right, aren't you? Taking your medications, reading labels, choosing foods with those little heart symbols on the box. But what if I told you that some of these very foods, these foods we've been told are protecting our hearts, might actually be working against us, especially as we get older? I'm Dr. William Pace, a nutritionist with 15 years of experience specializing in senior health. Over the years, I've worked with many clients in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who followed conventional advice, yet still saw their health decline. Lower energy, worsening test results, and increasing medications. There is a serious gap in how we address heart health for older adults. Today, I want to share what I've learned, not just from academic research, but from real experiences working directly with seniors. Today, we're going to uncover 5 foods that are marketed as heart healthy, but can actually be sabotaging your cardiovascular health. More importantly, I'm going to show you what to choose instead. Simple swaps that honor both your taste buds and your wisdom. If you've ever felt confused by conflicting health advice, type 1 in the comments. If you're ready to discover the truth about these so-called healthy foods, type 2. Let's do this together. There's something many people don't realize about aging and nutrition. Our bodies at 65 are not the same as they were at 45, and yet we're often given the same dietary advice. The quiet truth is that foods that might be fine for younger adults can become problematic as we age, not because we're weaker, but because we're different. I think about my client Eleanor, 73 years old, sharp as a tack, who came to me frustrated. She was following every heart-healthy recommendation she could find, yet her cholesterol was climbing, her energy was dropping, and her doctor was talking about increasing her medications. Sound familiar? Here's what happens in our bodies after 60 that changes everything. Our metabolism slows by about 5 to 10% each decade. Our ability to process sugar becomes less efficient. 40% of seniors have prediabetes or diabetes. Our liver works 30% slower at processing certain compounds. And our digestive system produces 40% less stomach acid, making it harder to absorb nutrients. These aren't weaknesses, they're natural changes. But they mean that foods marketed as heart-healthy for the general population can actually create problems for us. And here's something that really concerns me. 67% of seniors take 5 or more medications daily. Many of these so-called healthy foods can interfere with common medications like blood thinners, diabetes drugs, and blood pressure medications. It's not just about the food, it's about how that food interacts with your entire health picture. If you're feeling a bit overwhelmed right now, that's completely understandable. Take a breath. We're going to walk through this together, one food at a time. And remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to taking care of yourself. Food number 1, commercial granola and granola bars. There's something about it, isn't there? The warm crunch, the toasted oats, the sprinkle of nuts, maybe a few dried cranberries or dark chocolate chips tossed in. It feels like the kind of food your grandmother would have made in a cast-iron pan on a Sunday morning. Granola has this image of being wholesome. Simple, earthy, even noble in a way. And it's no wonder so many people reach for it when trying to eat clean or heart-healthy. It's often stocked in the organic aisle, wrapped in words like natural, energy-boosting, and made with love. It looks like health in a bag. But here's the quiet truth that doesn't get said nearly enough. Most store-bought granola, and the bars made from it, aren't helping your heart. They're hurting it. Now, I'm not here to take away anyone's favorite breakfast, but what I do want to do is lift the veil a little bit, so you can make choices with clarity, not confusion. Let's talk numbers. Most commercial granolas contain 12 to 20 grams of added sugar, and that's just in a half-cup serving. To visualize that, that's almost 5 teaspoons of sugar, in what many people think is a light breakfast. Now think about how we actually eat granola. It's rarely half a cup. You pour it into a bowl, maybe with milk, maybe with yogurt, and before you know it, you've had a cup. Maybe more. Double the sugar. Double the problem. And here's where age changes the story. At 30 or 40, your body can clear that sugar spike relatively quickly. But after 60, Our ability to process sugar slows down significantly, by about 40%. That means sugar stays in your bloodstream longer, stressing your pancreas, your liver, your heart, and your energy levels. You might notice that crash mid-morning, the foggy head, the need for another cup of coffee. That's not just getting older. That's your body trying to rebalance after a sugar surge. Let me share something powerful from a study that changed how I talk about this. A major research project published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society tracked nearly 3,000 seniors over 10 years. What they found was striking. Seniors who regularly consumed high-sugar health foods, including granola, bars, flavored yogurts, and smoothies, had a 34% higher rate of cardiovascular events. Let that sink in. That's nearly a third more heart attacks, strokes, and related complications in people who were trying to eat healthy. And for those taking medications like warfarin or other blood thinners, that sugar spike becomes even more dangerous. Why? Because sugar affects insulin and inflammation, which can make blood viscosity less stable. Combined with blood thinners, that raises your risk of bleeding events, especially in the brain and GI tract. And again, this isn't about fear, it's about understanding what your body needs now, not 20 years ago. Part of the problem is that granola today isn't what it used to be. Originally, granola was a simple mix of rolled oats, toasted nuts, and maybe a drizzle of honey. It was rustic, homemade, balanced. But today's commercial granolas, they're often packed with high fructose corn syrup, palm oil, preservatives, chocolate chunks, yogurt-flavored coatings, natural sweeteners that act just like sugar in your bloodstream. Even the bars marketed as energy or protein bars often have more sugar than a candy bar. It's easy to be fooled because the packaging is designed to sell a feeling, not to tell the whole story. And that's not your fault. In fact, if you've ever bought a granola bar thinking it was a smart snack, you were doing your best with the information you had. That's why we're here, to rewrite that story together. Now, let's talk solutions. Because this doesn't mean you have to give up your morning routine. It just means giving it a slight upgrade. One of the best swaps you can make? Steel-cut oats. These are whole oats that haven't been rolled or overly processed. They take a little longer to cook, but the benefits are worth it. Add in a handful of fresh berries for natural sweetness and antioxidants, a tablespoon of chopped walnuts for healthy omega-3s, a pinch of cinnamon for flavor and blood sugar support, and a splash of almond milk or kefir if you like it creamy. You still get that warm, satisfying, spoonful by spoonful comfort. But now, you're feeding your body fuel, not inflammation. And here's something encouraging. The Framingham Heart Study, one of the most respected long-term health studies ever conducted, showed that seniors who ate whole oats regularly had a 12% reduction in LDL cholesterol, the bad kind. That's without statins, just food doing what food is supposed to do. Supporting your heart, not challenging it. If you're still watching, that tells me something important. You're not just looking for quick fixes. You're looking for real answers. And more importantly, you believe your health is worth protecting. Drop a heart in the comments if oats are something you already love, or if you're open to giving them a try this week. Let's build this healthier life together. So the next time you reach for that granola bar, just take a moment. Flip it over. Look at the label. You're not just eating for energy. You're eating to support a heart that's worked hard for you all these years, and you deserve to give it the care it needs. Food number 2, fruit juice. Even 100% natural. For many of us, a glass of orange juice feels like health in a cup. It reminds us of bright mornings and doing something good for our bodies. But here's what no one really told us. That 8-ounce glass of juice, it contains the sugar of 6 to 8 oranges, without any of the fiber. And fiber matters. When you eat an actual orange, the fiber slows down how quickly sugar enters your bloodstream. But with juice, there's nothing to slow it down. Those liquid sugars hit your bloodstream in 15 minutes or less. It's like opening up a sugar highway. And for seniors, that's a problem. As we age, our insulin response slows down. Blood sugar stays elevated longer. The pancreas has to work harder. That's not your fault. It's just how the body changes with time. Now imagine doing that every morning, for years. That's where the concern really begins. A long-term study from Harvard, the Nurses' Health Study, followed 34,000 women for over 20 years. They found that women over 65 who drank fruit juice daily had a 27% higher risk of heart disease. 27%. From something most people think is healthy. And it's not just the sugar. If you're taking medications, some juices can quietly interfere. Let's take grapefruit juice. It blocks enzymes in your gut that break down drugs, especially statins for cholesterol and certain blood pressure meds. That means more of the drug enters your bloodstream than intended. More side effects, more risk. Then there's cranberry juice. If you're on a blood thinner like warfarin, cranberry juice can amplify its effects, increasing your risk of bleeding, even from something as small as a bruise or paper cut. These aren't rare interactions. They're real, and they affect people every day. But here's the good news. You have better options. Instead of juice, try whole fruit. An apple, a handful of blueberries, even half a grapefruit, if your meds allow it. Whole fruit gives you the vitamins, the antioxidants, and the fiber, which supports digestion, balances blood sugar, and keeps energy steady. And if you're not into chewing fruit in the morning, that's okay too. Try infused water. Take a pitcher. Fill it with cold water. Add a few slices of lemon, cucumber, some mint leaves, maybe a few strawberries. Let it chill overnight. In the morning, you've got something light, refreshing, and flavorful, with zero added sugar. You still get the ritual. You still get the satisfaction. But you skip the crash. You'll likely notice steadier energy, less bloating, clearer thinking, and that small change, it adds up, especially over time. So if juice has been part of your routine for years, don't feel bad. You were doing the best you could with the information you had. But now you know more. And that means you can do better. Food number 3, low-fat and fat-free dairy. Let's talk about dairy, specifically low-fat and fat-free dairy. Because for decades we've been told that these are the better options, that low-fat milk, fat-free yogurt, skim cheese, all of it is somehow safer, more heart-healthy, more responsible, less risky. And that seems logical, right? Less fat, less cholesterol, less burden on the heart. That's what the packaging says. That's what the commercials said. That's what we were told by well-meaning doctors and nutritionists for years. But let's slow down and look at what's really happening. Because the truth is far more interesting and far more empowering. When food manufacturers remove the fat from dairy, they're removing the flavor too. Fat is what gives yogurt that creamy richness. It's what makes cheese melt beautifully. It's what makes milk taste like, well, milk. So when they take that fat out, guess what they have to add back in? Sugar. In fact, most low-fat and fat-free yogurts on the shelf contain 8 to 12 grams of added sugar per serving. That's 2 to 3 teaspoons in what's supposed to be a healthy snack. And if it's fruit-flavored, the sugar content can be even higher. Now remember what we talked about earlier. Your body after 60 doesn't process sugar the same way it used to. Your insulin response slows. Your liver's detox systems slow down. Sugar lingers longer in your bloodstream. So that low-fat yogurt may not be helping your heart at all. In fact, it could be quietly working against it. But there's something else no one talks about. Fat isn't just about flavor. It's a delivery system. Your body needs dietary fat to absorb fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. These aren't optional. Vitamin D helps regulate your immune system. It keeps your bones strong. Vitamin K2, it directs calcium into your bones and away from your arteries. Vitamin A supports your vision, skin, and mucous membranes. And vitamin E is one of the most powerful antioxidants for protecting your cells. But without fat in your diet, your body can't absorb these essential nutrients properly. So when we choose fat-free dairy thinking it's the heart-smart choice, we may actually be shortchanging our bones, our immunity, and our heart health in the long run. And this isn't just theory. There's a study I want to share with you. It spanned 15 years and followed over 20,000 adults across Europe. And the results were eye-opening. Older adults over 65 who consumed full-fat dairy had a 23% lower risk of dying from cardiovascular disease. Let me say that again. Full-fat dairy was linked to better heart health outcomes. But the low-fat and fat-free versions, they showed no significant protective effect at all. So here's the question we have to ask. Are we avoiding fat because we've been taught to fear it? Or are we ready to reconsider what our bodies truly need, especially as we age? Because here's what I want you to hear clearly. Fat is not the enemy. Poor quality fat is the problem. But healthy, well-sourced fats, those are allies. especially when they come packaged in whole, nourishing foods. So let's talk about a better way to approach dairy. Instead of fat-free yogurt with added sugar, try plain, full-fat Greek yogurt. Just a few spoonfuls, 2 or 3 times a week. It's rich in probiotics for gut health, it's high in protein to support muscle retention, and it has the fat your body needs to absorb the vitamins that support your bones, your heart, and your energy. Or maybe you've been avoiding butter for years. That's understandable. Butter's been villainized for a long time. But here's the nuance. A small amount of grass-fed butter, I'm talking about a tablespoon or less, can actually provide vitamin K2, which helps protect both your bones and arteries. And it adds richness and satisfaction to your meals, which means you might feel fuller longer and be less likely to reach for sugary snacks later. Now, this isn't about going overboard. This isn't about loading your plate with cheese and calling it health food. It's about quality over quantity. It's about choosing real, minimally processed dairy in moderate amounts that your body can recognize, digest, and benefit from. You're not doing your body a favor by skipping the fat and piling on the sugar. You're doing your body a favor by choosing wholesome, nutrient-rich foods that work with your natural rhythms. And that's especially true after 60, because now more than ever, your body is asking for support, not restriction. Balance, not fear. And most importantly, nourishment, not deprivation. So if you've been staring at the dairy aisle wondering which label to trust, know this: you don't need to fear fat anymore. You just need to choose wisely. You're not doing something bad by enjoying a little full-fat yogurt or a touch of butter. You're honoring your body's needs. You're giving it tools to heal, repair, and stay strong. And that's something worth celebrating. If you're still watching, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're just learning more and using that knowledge to take better care of yourself. Drop a number 3 in the comments if this changed how you see dairy, or if you're thinking about trying that full-fat Greek yogurt this week. You deserve to feel strong, supported, and informed. Food number 4, vegetable oils. Now this one might feel controversial, because for years we've been told that oils like canola, corn, and soybean are the healthy choice. They're in our stir-fries, our salad dressings, our baked goods, even in so-called heart-healthy snacks. They're unsaturated, right? So they must be good for the heart, right? That's what the labels say. But here's the uncomfortable truth. There's a quiet crisis unfolding with these oils, especially for those of us over 60. It all starts with omega fatty acids. Your body needs both omega-3s and omega-6 to function well. But balance is the key. The ideal ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is about 4:1. But the average American diet, thanks to these vegetable oils, it's closer to 20:1. That's 5 times higher than optimal. And that kind of imbalance creates a chronic, low-grade inflammation inside the body, especially inside your blood vessels. Now here's where it gets even more concerning. Most commercial vegetable oils are highly processed. They're extracted at extremely high temperatures, often with chemical solvents, then bleached, then deodorized. This process doesn't just damage the oil, it creates oxidized compounds. And when you heat those oils again in your kitchen, they produce something called aldehydes, toxic substances linked to DNA damage, cellular aging, and cardiovascular inflammation. Now imagine that happening inside your body every time you saute your veggies in canola oil. Let's look at the research. A comprehensive meta-analysis published in BMJ Open Heart reviewed 27 different studies. And the finding? Adults over 60 with high omega-6 intake had a 32% higher rate of cardiovascular death. Let me repeat that, 32% higher. And that's just from long-term exposure to these oils, especially when they're heated. Another study looked at inflammation markers in seniors. After consuming meals cooked in vegetable oil, their inflammation markers were 50% higher compared to meals made with olive oil. 50%. Now remember, chronic inflammation is a known root cause of heart disease, stroke, and even some cancers. So even though we're not feeling it right away, the damage can be slow, silent, and cumulative. But this doesn't mean you have to stop cooking or flavoring your food. It just means going back to the traditional fats that supported generations before us. Fats that are more stable, less processed, and more supportive of healthy aging. Extra virgin olive oil is a great place to start. It's rich in polyphenols, natural plant compounds that help fight inflammation. It's ideal for salads, low-heat cooking, and finishing vegetables. And there's strong science behind it. In fact, Mediterranean diet studies show up to a 30% reduction in cardiovascular events in people who use olive oil regularly. That's powerful. If you're doing higher heat cooking like roasting or pan-searing, try avocado oil. It has a much higher smoke point than olive oil. It's neutral in flavor, it's heat-stable, and it contains monounsaturated fats that support heart health. Even coconut oil, used in moderation, can be useful. It's made up of medium-chain triglycerides, or MCTs, which some research shows can be metabolized quickly for energy rather than stored as fat. It's not for everyone, and it's best used sparingly, but it's far more stable than vegetable oils when heated. Here's what it comes down to. You don't need to fear fat. You need to respect the source of your fat, because the quality of the oil you use every day could be quietly shaping your future health. So the next time you're reaching for a bottle on the shelf, ask yourself, is this oil supporting inflammation or reducing it? Is this oil part of a tradition that's lasted centuries or part of a factory process that didn't exist 100 years ago? Because your heart deserves better than lab-made shortcuts. It deserves real food, real nourishment, and real protection. If this changed the way you think about oils, drop a number 4 in the comments. Food number 5, whole grain breakfast cereals. Let's end with something that's probably sitting in your pantry right now. Whole grain breakfast cereal. It looks responsible, doesn't it? The boxes are covered in heart symbols, whole grain stamps, words like smart start or heart healthy choice. It feels like the safe morning routine, quick, tidy, and full of fiber, something even your doctor might nod at. But here's what the packaging doesn't tell you. Most of these cereals go through something called extrusion processing. It's a high-heat, high-pressure method that shapes the flakes or puffs. But in the process, it destroys up to 80% of the grain's natural antioxidants. That's right, 80% gone before it ever hits your bowl. And without those antioxidants and enzymes, the cereal behaves more like refined carbohydrates, meaning sugar enters your bloodstream fast. Your pancreas rushes to compensate. Your insulin spikes, then crashes. And for those of us over 60, that roller coaster gets steeper. Our insulin sensitivity declines with age. Our pancreas doesn't bounce back like it used to. Our digestion slows, and blood sugar spikes become harder to manage. Now you might think, but this is whole grain, and yes, technically it started that way. But once it's been milled, blasted, shaped, and sugar-coated, it's lost most of the traits that make a whole grain whole, and the effects show up in real-world data. A major 10-year study tracked over 5,000 seniors who regularly consumed processed breakfast cereals. And the results? Those who ate cereal daily had a 29% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Why? Because those rapid sugar spikes, even from healthy cereals, create wear and tear over time, especially in older adults. And it's not just about blood sugar. These cereals can also lead to bloating, because your digestion isn't designed for extruded grains. Inflammation, triggered by additives, emulsifiers, and anti-caking agents. Poor nutrient absorption, because the gut lining can get irritated and less effective. Now, this doesn't mean you need to give up warm, satisfying breakfasts. There are beautiful, simple alternatives. How about steel-cut oats? You can prep them overnight. They hold their fiber, they release sugar slowly, and they actually help lower LDL cholesterol. That's the bad one. Or try making your own muesli. Just raw oats, chopped nuts, a few seeds, and unsweetened dried fruit. Soak it in milk or a milk alternative. Maybe add a little cinnamon, and there you have it. Heart-smart, gut-friendly, and nutrient-dense. The best part? You control the ingredients. No mystery additives. No sugar hiding behind 6 different names. No flashy health claims that mean nothing. Just real food your body can recognize. Real food your heart can thrive on. And real food your grandparents would have recognized. Because the truth is, nutrition isn't about being trendy. It's about being true to what your body needs, especially in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. So if you're still with me, if you've made it through all 5 foods we've uncovered today, I want you to type the word ready in the comments. Because here's where it gets exciting. Now that we know what to avoid, we can start building something better. A way of eating that's rich in flavor, rich in nourishment, and rich in long-term health. Not based on trends, not based on food industry marketing, but based on wisdom, on science, and on experience. Here's what I want you to know. You are not too old to make changes that matter. You're not too set in your ways to improve your health. In fact, at this stage of life, you have something younger people don't have: the wisdom to distinguish between what truly serves you and what merely promises to. Think of this not as restriction, but as refinement. You've earned the right to be selective about what you put in your body. The Senior Heart Healthy Plate looks like this: half your plate filled with colorful, non-starchy vegetables, the kind that make your plate look like a rainbow. A quarter of your plate with quality protein like wild-caught fish twice a week, or grass-fed lean meats. The final quarter with truly complex carbohydrates like steel-cut oats, quinoa, or sweet potatoes. This doesn't mean abandoning the foods that bring you comfort or the traditions that bring you joy. It means making subtle shifts that honor both your heritage and your health. Maybe it's switching from fruit juice to fresh fruit at breakfast, or from processed granola to homemade versions where you control the ingredients. Start small. Week 1, replace one problematic food. Week 2, improve your cooking fats. Week 3, optimize breakfast. Week 4, fine-tune based on how you feel. This is about gentle progress, not dramatic overhaul. I want to close with something important. Your health matters. Your vitality matters. Your right to feel strong and energetic in this season of life matters just as much as it did when you were 30 or 40 or 50. There's a quiet strength in taking control of your nutrition at this stage of life. It's not about chasing youth. It's about honoring the body that has carried you through decades of living, loving, working, and caring for others. This isn't about perfection. It's about making informed choices with the wisdom you've gained over the years. Every small change you make is an act of self-respect, a way of saying, I'm worth taking care of. Think of it this way. You've spent decades taking care of others: children, parents, spouses, communities. Now it's time to take that same caring energy and direct it toward yourself. Not out of vanity, but out of wisdom. Not because you have to, but because you deserve to feel your best. I want to hear from you. In the comments below, share one thing that surprised you today. Was it the truth about granola? The reality of fruit juice? The story about vegetable oils? Your insights might help someone else who's on this same journey. And if this video helped you see your food choices in a new light, I want you to do something for me and for yourself. Comment "worth it" if you're ready to make one small change this week. Because you are worth it. If you found value in this conversation, please subscribe and ring that notification bell. I create content specifically for seniors who want evidence-based nutrition advice that respects their intelligence and honors their experience. Remember, you have the power to make choices that serve your health and your happiness. Age is not a limitation. It's simply a different set of considerations, and you're wise enough to navigate them. Until next time, take care of yourself with the same love and attention you've given to everyone else in your life.